Hi, I'm Wes Kim, Board President of Seattle Musica, and on behalf of the board, staff, and singers, I'd like to welcome you to this month's episode of Choral Tapas, our virtual concert series. We've got some great music coming your way from Melissa Dunphy and Gabriel Fauré, and tasty food and drink recipes from Seattle Cucina and our own Katie Scovold. Before we begin, we would like to acknowledge that the land we live, work, and play on is the original territory of the Duwamish tribe, the first people of Seattle. We encourage you to visit duwamishtribe.org, where you can learn about the Duwamish tribe, who are very much still with us. You can donate to Real Rent Duwamish, which funds programs for the tribe, and you can sign the petition to show your support for the tribe as they seek federal recognition. As always, we at Seattle Musica express our gratitude to both the land and its people. Thanks again for tuning in, and now please welcome Karen P. Thomas.
Hello, I'm Karen P. Thomas, Artistic Director of Seattle Musica, here to welcome you to the second installment of our Choral Tapas series. We're delighted to share these bite-sized concerts that combine music, snacks, and beverages. In each segment, you'll enjoy 2 or more choral works, both new and old, complemented by an appetizer preparation video by Seattle Cucina Cooking School, and a signature cocktail demonstration video by Seattle Musica's Executive Director, Katie Scovold. The recipes were shared in advance on our website and Facebook page and are linked in the description box below, so you can cook, stir, or shake along with us. For today's Choral Tapas, we bring you music by Fauré, Rheinberger, and by contemporary composer Melissa Dunphy. To start us off today, we take a look into Seattle Musica's history with a video of a live performance, remember those? From 2011. This is the first movement of Josef Rheinberger's Cantus Missae, or Mass for Double Choir, which we performed at St. James Cathedral. Now, Rheinberger was a musical prodigy beginning at only 5 years old. He was organist at his town church in Germany from age 7 to 12, where a special device was created to allow his little feet to reach the pedals. At age 13, he went to Munich to attend conservatory, completing his degree at 15. He then began a long and illustrious career as a professor, organist, and composer. The Cantus Missae was composed in 1878 and is full of richly chromatic harmonies that are a joy to sing and listen to. Here to introduce this performance is Seattle Musica alum Jenny Tisi.
Hi there. My name is Jenny Tisi, and I was a soprano in Seattle Musica from 1998 to 2011. The piece that you're going to hear right now, the Rheinberger Mass for Double Choir, was actually sung at my very last concert with Seattle Musica. So I'm honored to talk about it, and I get a little teary-eyed thinking about it. The movement that you're going to hear is the Kyrie. Singing in double choirs is always fun. I enjoy it. I love the interplay between the two choirs. I love the call and response, the connectedness, the sometimes weaving away from each other and then coming back together. I love the times where I think, how come the soprano 2s are singing above me when I'm a soprano 1? And oh, it's actually supposed to be that way. I love all of those moments. It just makes it fun for me. And I think for the rest of the choir as well. I have 2 really fun memories of us working on this piece. This piece, it's Latin, and we sang in German Latin for this piece of music, and we're not used to doing that. And I remember just wrapping our mouths and our tongues around a new way of pronouncing Latin. That was a struggle and something fun for us to accomplish. And then there was one night, I so vividly remember this, I think I can still hear the sound in my head. We rehearsed this piece in the St. James choir room. All 70 of us piled into the choir room in a double choir in a very tall ceiling space, and it was so echoey and loud and just like sitting inside of a cave and listening to Seattle Musica at its best. So fun. I hope that you enjoy this piece. I certainly enjoyed singing it with a group of people that I love.
Hello, my name is Katie Scovold. I'm the Executive Director of Seattle Musica, and I'd like to make you a cocktail. You need the following implements. And the following ingredients. Let's make it. Step 1 is really more like step 1A, pre-1. What's -1? Step -1. Because this part is completely optional. It is mostly to tie in this cocktail, the smoky triple M, with the song Wild Embers, because we're gonna light the oils on fire. Anyway, you can take a big old strip off this orange with a Y peeler. I'm also gonna trim these up to make them fancy with this knife. Next step, rim the glass. For a margarita, you traditionally use a rocks glass. You can live your whole life with whatever glass you want. I am not coming to your house. Here's mine. I'm gonna rim my glass with tahini. Tahini is a classic seasoning that's made of salt, sugar, citric acid, effectively. I think there's dehydrated lime. Ah, yes, dehydrated lime. Tahini goes beautifully with mango and lime. It's a little bit sour, it's a little bit sweet, it's a little bit spicy. It's super good. Cut your lime in half. Use your cut lime to rim your glass. You can go all the way around, or you can just do like a big swipey on the side. It's very graphic. And roll it in. We're gonna be building this drink in a shaker, and then we will pour it out over fresh ice. So fresh ice in here. A standard margarita is 2 ounces of your base spirit, an ounce of sweetener, and an ounce of lime juice. That is one way to make a margarita. It's a classic recipe. The thing about classic recipes is that unless there's a definitive guide, an original publication date, there's 8,000 versions. There's no definitive answer to from whence the margarita came, and since this is a riff anyway, may as well just lean into what you like. Some limes are puckerier than others, and some are sweeter, and you are gonna want to adjust to your taste. I'm gonna juice this lime. 1/2 ounce. I'm gonna taste it. I'm probably gonna need to add extra sweetener to balance. Lime juice into the shaker. 2 ounces of a smoky mezcal. I like this one. If you don't like mezcal, use tequila. 2 ounces. This is the orange liqueur I'm using. It is Cointreau, non-spawn. 1/2 ounce of orange liqueur. And finally, the mango part. Here's the thing. Mango comes in about 45 forms. To make a cocktail with mango stuff in it, you really want to have the mango flavor come through. And if you don't have enough concentration in your mango ingredient, it'll just taste like a margarita. And it might not even taste like a good margarita because you've adjusted the other ingredients to make up for the mango stuff. You can get mango, frozen chunks, actual fruit, nectar, different nectar, juice. If you have actual mango, slice it, puree it yourself, smash it, put it directly into the shaker and shake it around with the mezcal. If you have frozen chonkies, put them in the blender. And then if you're gonna already be using the blender, put all the rest of your ingredients in the blender and make a blended margarita. No shame in that. Now put it in the shaker. The shaker is filled with ice. Shake for 15 seconds. Now, here's something important. You might want to adjust this drink. You might want it sweeter. You might want it limier. You might want more mango flavor. You might want more mezcal. Taste it before you pour it out, and then you can adjust. More mango. You have to remember that ice is an ingredient. So when you shake your cocktail, you're adding ice. And ice is water, and water dilutes. Shake again. Another test. Friggin' delicious. That's it. That's the one. Now, will it fit in my glass? Okay. Grab a match. Grab your peel. You want to have it firmly. Don't pre-squeeze. You want those oils to be ready to come out over the cocktail. Here we go. It worked. And that is your smoky mango mezcal margarita, or the smoky triple M. It's really good. It's really good. It's really good. My strongest recommendation still stands. May as well just lean into what you like.
Hey, it's voiceover Katie. Rim your glass with tahini or your spice mix. I had mango, so I smooshed a couple of chunks in the bottom of my glass here. I put a couple of ounces of mango juice and half a lime into this rocks glass and mixed it around. Then I threw ice in there. You could also put that in a shaker and then shake it all up before you add soda. Don't do it after you add soda. Then top your mix with your soda and flame your orange if you feel like it. Why not? It's a good time.
I want you just to have a nice margarita. That's all it is. It's not hard, and you can do it. Thanks for coming on this journey with me. I'm so glad to have made you a margarita, a smoky mezcal mango margarita, or the smoky triple M, or the Cheers!
Thank you, Katie. Looks delicious. This smoky drink will pair beautifully with our next piece, Wild Embers by Melissa Dunphy. Born to refugee parents from China and Greece and raised in Australia, Melissa Dunphy immigrated to the US in 2003 and has become an award-winning composer specializing in vocal, political, and theatrical music. She lives in Philadelphia and teaches composition at Rutgers University. We will get to hear directly from Melissa later in the program. First, I'd like to share a quote from her website. She says, "As a composer, I believe that music is not only a form of expression, but a means of communication. I want my music to be relevant to the world around it and exist in that world. It is inspired by and explores real-world issues of social justice and personal relationships. I am deeply committed to bringing the voices of women and minorities to the stage, either by telling their stories or telling stories from their perspective." Before we hear Wild Embers, here's one of our singers, Ellie Hale, to share a personal reflection.
I'm Ellie Hale, and I'm a Seattle Pro Musica member since 1994. That makes 27 happy years as a second soprano, verging now on first alto. You're going to love this next piece, Wild Embers. It's a poem written by Nikita Gill and elegantly set to music by Melissa Dunphy. I love the voicing of the piece, the weaving of the lines and the pauses, repetition, punctuation, some wildness in the movement. And I love that to my ears it sounds a little bit dangerous. The poem that Nikita Gill wrote starts, "We are the descendants of the wild women you forgot. We are the stories that you thought would never be taught." This poem reminds me of a sign that I saw when I was in the First Women's March that said, and it's not a new phrase, "They tried to bury us. They didn't know that we were seeds." This definitely speaks to women and anybody really. We are the descendants of wild women. They're the mothers of us all, and we carry their wildness in us. And it just takes some injustice to spark a fierce, fierce collective response. Just one wild ember.
Descendants of the
Such a powerful piece. The singers and I recently had the pleasure of talking with Melissa Dunphy at a Zoom rehearsal. We loved getting to know her, and with her permission, we'd like to share some of that conversation with you. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, Melissa Dunphy. Hi.
Hi.
Oh my gosh, it is so great to have you with us. We're just jazzed.
It's so great to be here.
Oh, well, thank you. So I'd have to tell you that the first time we read through your piece, people were just like, whoa. We do love your piece. I wonder, just by way of getting started, would you like to give us just your background and when you moved here and just a little bit? Yeah.
Absolutely. Great. I'm calling in from Philadelphia, and but as you can tell, I am not from Philly. I am originally from Australia. I grew up in Brisbane and then Sydney. I grew up playing the viola, singing in choirs, learning piano. I didn't really start composing, though, not seriously, until I was in my mid-20s and I had moved to America. It never occurred to me that composition could be a career until just by chance. I do a lot of theater as well, and I was in a production of A Midsummer Night's Dream as one of the fairies, and the music director had to drop out of the show. So the director of the show came to me and said, Melissa, you're a musician and we're so desperate and we have 2 weeks before we go up. We need someone to write all of the songs for Midsummer Night's Dream, like immediately. Burning the midnight oil at having to stay up till like 2 o'clock in the morning to write music, and then go to my day job, and then go to rehearsals, and then write music. And it was during one of these sleep deprived nights that I had an epiphany, which was, I love this. This is what I want to do with the rest of my life. Like, I am so tired, but this is it. This is what I want. So I got my Bachelor of Music and went on to get a PhD at the University of Pennsylvania. I always have felt like I've come at this world from a slightly outsider perspective on a bunch of different levels, right? Because it's like, I've immigrated to a new country, so I'm experiencing America and learning about America from the inside as an outsider. I come from a family of immigrants. My parents were sort of refugees to Australia from China and from Greece post-World War II. I started this path so late in life compared to other classical musicians. It's not late, like 24 is not old, but in the world of classical music, there are so many young composer competitions where the age cutoff is 25. So when I hit 25, I was like, am I old now? Because I don't qualify for young anymore, apparently. I'm a woman, obviously, let's get that out of the way. I'm a woman in a field that is dominated by men. And I have really strong opinions about that and about the world and about being the outsider and commenting on stuff. So I think my music reflects that. No, I don't think that I had a specific person. I mean, obviously, when I read the words, I think about things like Joan of Arc. I think about things like, I think about the Salem witch trials. I think of just the way women have been persecuted for so long. And it feels like, even despite, the women's rights movement, such as it is still very new in our culture. We haven't really reckoned with centuries of what's been done to women, and in many cases is still being done to women today. When I look at poetry, I actually want to try and find poetry that has space for music in it. So it's not always perfect poetry that I want to set to music. But if you find poetry that has space for music in between the words, that's when I get really, really excited as a composer. And Nikita Gill, have you all checked out her poetry? Have you Googled Nikita Gill? Please all Google Nikita Gill. She is amazing. She's published several collections of poetry. She's British Indian poet, and it's all wonderfully feminist and from a perspective of someone who has healed from trauma and wants to talk about her healing process. She writes fairy tales like from a feminist perspective as well, which are really good to give to like younger readers. And go and look at her work. I was so excited by it.
It has been absolutely delightful to have you with us, and I appreciate you taking the time to chat with the choir. And I look forward to the day when we can do this piece and other pieces of yours live, which we will, because really like your music. So I know we will do more of it, and choir loves it. So
yay!
Yeah, we will.
That's
wonderful. Will continue. Bye-bye. Thank you so much.
Well, hi there. Happy intermission. I'm Katie Scovold, Executive Director, here to ask you to consider supporting Seattle Pro Musica. You can support us directly with a financial contribution. There are links in the description box below. You can also text the word choir to the number 44321. Or you can support us by subscribing to this YouTube channel, liking our content, and sharing it with friends and family. Help us expand our reach. The more people who know about us, the better our lives will be. You can also support us by getting your vaccine as soon as it becomes available, because we want nothing more than to be able to sing for you in person again. Though these Choral Tapas experiences are fun and we hope you're enjoying them very much, what we really want to do is get back in a room together. So thank you for being here for these Choral Tapas times, and we look forward to seeing you in person again at some point in the not too distant future. Thank you for your contributions, and thank you for your support.
Hi everyone, and welcome to our cooking demonstration. My name is Erica, coming at you from Seattle Cucina Cooking School, and I'll be demonstrating two very delicious tapas, only using one heavy pan. And I chose these two tapas actually in inspiration of our piece, one of my favorite pieces we're singing this season, Melissa Dunphy's Wild Embers. There's a lot of imagery about burning and fire and coals and embers. Although I will not be literally using flames, there is a lot of high heat action and some spice that's coming through. So it should be a delicious, quick, and fun cooking time if you want to cook along with me. We're going to start by making our blistered shishito peppers, and then we'll follow up with Gambas al Ajillo, which translates to garlicky shrimp. It's exactly like what it sounds like, tangy, garlicky, and most importantly, shrimpy. And of course, you're welcome to do one, the other, or both. Let's go ahead and get cooking. I'm going to begin with our blistered shishito peppers, and the recipe does call for shishito peppers, pictured right here, these bigger guys. Traditionally, in Spanish tapas, padron peppers are used for this. I love this recipe. It's a 3-ingredient recipe: peppers, oil, and salt. We want to go ahead and start with flavorless oil. An important key to this dish is a heavy pan. I'm using a cast iron and high heat so that these things cook pretty quickly and then get a nice blistered and browning color, which we want. This should only take about 5 to 7 minutes of cook time. As the pan heats, I will mention these are very similar peppers. The main difference is size, and for both of these peppers, about 1 out of 10 peppers is quite picante, spicy. So it's a little bit of a roulette risk, but I think it's kind of fun as long as you're okay with a little bit of spice in your life. And we're gonna throw them whole into the pan, which is a little unique, but these make nice little handles when you're eating them. I'm gonna throw in my peppers. Et voila! you have your blistered peppers. So delicious, such a good snack. And next, we're gonna make our Gambas al Ajillo, our garlic shrimp. I have here definitely less than a pound of shrimp, but we want a pound of peeled, deveined, but tail-on shrimp. And if you're in Pacific Northwest, shouldn't have too much of a difficult time finding delicious shrimp. And we're gonna go ahead and let these marinate with a nice amount of salt. There's no amount listed in the recipe, and that's okay. It's gonna make them nicely seasoned so we don't salt the dish later. So this is all the salt the shrimp are getting, so keep that in mind. And then we're gonna let this sit on the counter for 15 minutes. 15 minutes later, using the same pan we had our peppers in, you might wanna give it a wipe with a towel, maybe not. I'm gonna go ahead and pull back my shrimp. Hello, shrimp. 2 tablespoons of olive oil. A Spanish favorite. And you may notice this recipe also uses very few ingredients. Spanish food really relies on just simple ingredients and quality ingredients, allowing flavors to really speak for themselves. So we're gonna add our garlic. And then I have here a whole chile de árbol, and you are welcome to tap out all of your seeds and then rip up the flesh. Another option, you can use just chili flakes. I'm pouring in also my bay leaf. And we're gonna just let this cook until fragrant, but not browning. Starting to brown a bit, looking a little golden on edges, that's great. We don't wanna let it burn. So at this point, you're gonna add your prawns and stir. These shrimp are looking more and more opaque. They are just barely cooked. They all just turned opaque, and that is where I want to stop. You may be tempted to keep going. If you overcook these guys, they tend to get a little rubbery, right? Final step, you can pull out a nice sherry. I'm just using a dry white wine. Make sure it's drinkable because then you have the rest of the bottle to work with. A little bit, a tablespoon or 2 off the heat. Totally optional if wine is not your jam. Half of a lemon, and I'll say this one more time, we're doing this off the heat. And then a nice amount of parsley. Get that all stirred in. Make sure you can pull out your bay leaves, and then any final sprinkling of parsley. Taste 1 shrimp for salt. That's an important thing. Clean tail club. Bonus points if you can pull out the shrimp and have no meat left in the tail. I mean, that's phenomenal. So, there you have it, your blistered peppers and gambas al ajillo. I really hope you enjoyed making these as much as you enjoy eating them, and enjoy the rest of the show, and I'll see you next time. Bye, y'all.
Thank you, Erica. That looks fabulous. Our next piece, Cantique de Racine, is one of the earliest pieces written by the French composer Gabriel Fauré. He was only 19 when he wrote this piece in 1865 while a music student in Paris. Fauré studied with many prominent French composers in Paris, including the famous Camille Saint-Saëns. In fact, Saint-Saëns was part of a committee that awarded Fauré first prize in composition for the Cantique de Racine, despite the fact that Fauré wrote the piece in French instead of Latin, defying the competition instructions. We hope you enjoy this early example of Fauré's lush and lyrical choral music. Our performance features pianist Dwight Beckmeyer, cellist Paige Smith, and the singers of Seattle Musica. And now, with a few personal words about Cantique de Racine, here is one of our singers, Lauren Cree.
Hi, I'm Lauren Cree, and I've been an alto with SPM for 9 years. I don't think I've ever gotten through this next piece without getting a little misty-eyed. From its lovely lilting introduction, played so sensitively here by Dwight and Paige, followed by the layered entrances of each voice part, the swell of the middle section, and its peaceful, gentle ending. I love its lullaby-like quality and its prayerful, hopeful message. Please enjoy Cantique de Racine by Gabriel Fauré, written when he was just 19 years old. And cheers!
Thank you so much for joining us for Choral Tapas. I hope you'll join us for more. Our next bite-sized event is April 10. We'll enjoy music from Rachmaninoff's Vespers and Brahms' Requiem, as well as music by and an interview with contemporary composer Jared Tate. I'd like to thank our Choral Tapas production team. Our audio engineers for today's music were Kevin Wyatt Stone, Jakob Uys, and Bill Levy of Via Audio. Thanks to video editor Wes Kim, Seattle Cucina co-owner Erica Weissman, cocktail maven Katie Scoville, Seattle ProMusica's operations and administrative associate Joshua Gailey, and all of SPM's fabulous singers. You can find information and schedules for upcoming programs on our website at seattlepromusica.org. See you next time.